Hello and welcome to this program of School of Law. Today I will talk about uh, International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, and this topic is a part of uh, this topic is a part of our certificate in human rights program, which is offered by School of Law. This program is offered in Hindi as well as in English medium, and admissions are open now, so you can enroll in this program. Before coming to civil and political rights, let me tell you about the background of this convention. Actually, after the Second World War, it was realized that uh, for maintaining international peace and security, uh, respect for human rights is necessary. And there are provisions in the UN Charter dealing with human rights. In 1948, the United Nations General Assembly adopted a declaration which is called the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. This declaration was adopted on 10th December 1948, and it covers various rights. This was a declaration, so it was not a binding treaty. So it was realized that these rights should be incorporated in a convention or treaty, and when the states ratify these treaties, it will become a sort of binding rights. Binding rights in the sense that the states will have certain obligations. States will had some, states have to comply with certain procedures. For example, reporting of the situation of human rights, how much the human rights they have incorporated in their laws and practice, etc., etc. Binding does not mean the same thing as binding in our domestic law, but binding should be understood in the context of international law. And international law is applicable on the states, and the states are sovereign. In 1966, the rights contained in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights were divided into two covenants. One was related. One was the Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, and another one was the Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights. Here we come to the classification of the rights. The first generation rights are the civil and political rights. Second generation rights are the rights which are known as economic, social, and cultural rights. The difference between first and second category rights is that for the enforcement of second category rights, some kind of economic resources need to be committed by the states. States have to invest, for example, for education, health, social security, etc. But civil and political rights are enforceable without any financial commitment. Third category of rights are the group rights or solidarity rights. These rights are related to particular groups, and it was later realized by the United Nations that the rights contained in the two covenants need to be contextualized, keeping in mind the special requirements of different groups. So we can see in 1979 there was a convention on elimination of all forms of discrimination against women. There was a Child Rights Convention, Convention on the Rights of the Child, Convention on Migrant Workers, Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, 2006. These are the examples of third generation rights. Now, with regard to the civil and political rights, these rights, the states have certain obligations, as I mentioned as I mentioned earlier. The Civil and Political Rights Convention, which was adopted in 1966, as I told you, and there are additional optional protocols. Optional protocols are those protocols which the states are not bound to adopt. It was left to the states to adopt these conventions. For example, one of the optional protocol is related to individual complaints. That is to say that the individual can directly complain about the violation of human rights to the United Nations Human Rights Committee. So this this protocol was not adopted by many, including India. India has also not adopted this protocol because we felt that we have our own mechanism to deal with the matter. So there is no need to go for this kind of international obligation. Now, the nature of the states have to the states' freedom are restricted by these rights. The states has the obligation to respect these rights, and these rights are sometimes called the justiciable rights because these are civil and political rights, and the states have the obligation to and the responsibility to respect these rights. And the limitations are related to, as I told you, that it can be treated in two ways. Firstly, the international treaties are not binding in the same sense as the domestic laws are binding. And another is that the states can limit their obligations by putting reservations. So the states have for some articles, states have put their reservations that they will not be these provisions will not be binding on them. So now coming to the specific rights, the rights the right to life is Article 6. Right to life means right to live. No person shall be deprived his life, and in our constitution we have interpreted the life in very broad terms. Life means not merely existence, but life includes all the things which are uh, dignified living requires. For example, right to food, health, shelter, education, uh, access to public places, etc. etc. So we have given a very wide interpretation of the right to life. Prohibition against the torture. Torture is a kind of inhuman treatment using unnecessary force, etc. And there is a separate convention on the torture, Convention Against the Torture or Inhuman and Degrading Treatment of 1984, which deals with the issue in detail. Prohibitions against slavery. Slavery was prevalent in many parts of the country at that time. So the convention prohibits any kind of slavery. Right to liberty and security of persons. Security, liberty means freedom, and security of persons means it is related to the prohibition of any kind of threat against the person of any person. Humane treatment to persons who are deprived of personal liberty. There may be situations where the people are deprived of their liberty. For even there may be cases of preventive detention, or even where the person has committed an offense and he is undergoing imprisonment. In that case also, the person has the right to be treated humanely, and the rights which are not directly related to his punishment should not be violated. For example, there have been cases where the Supreme Court has held that a prisoner has the right to study, right to read, right to write his books, right, etc., etc. So, because these rights are not related to the punishment. No one shall be arrested for failure of any contractual obligation. For violation of a contract, because contractual obligations are civil obligations, and the remedy for a violation of contract is damages. So, for the violation of contractual obligations, a person cannot be arrested. Liberty of movement and freedom, freedom to choose residence. This is similar to our constitution. Our constitution also provides a right to residence and right to movement, freedom of residence and freedom of movement under Article 19. Right of aliens not to be expelled without following the procedure. So the foreigners, because there may be situations where the foreigners are living in a country uh, there may be a person may be under a threat, or there, there are various kinds of situations where an alien or a foreigner uh, may be living in a country. So whenever his rights, uh, when he is whenever he is deprived of his rights, there should be a proper procedure, and he should also be given the opportunity of hearing. Equality before, sorry, equality before and equal protection of laws, equal protection of courts and tribunals. It means that the courts and tribunals or the other judicial or quasi-judicial bodies should not discriminate on any ground. So every person should have the right to have recourse to courts and tribunals in case of violation of his rights. Non-retroactive application of laws. This is a very important right, and our Article 20 of the Constitution provides for this, that no criminal law should be applied retrospectively. I mean, in simple terms, we can say that no punishment can be imposed retrospectively. Suppose someone has committed a crime 1 month back and law is passed today. That law cannot be applied prior to this date, prior to today. However, the punishment can be reduced, or the punishment can, the law can say that this particular act is no longer an offense. But the law cannot increase the punishment retrospectively. Another important right is right to recognition as a person before law. This is akin to our Constitution Article 14, which provides right equality before law and equal protection of laws. Respect to privacy, family, home, or correspondence. Privacy on personal matters is respected, should be respected by every person, and it should not be deprived without following the procedure of due process of law. Actually, in family matters or personal matters, now the Supreme Court has also recognized to some extent the right to privacy. Although it is not an absolute right, but the court has recognized it in Puttaswamy case in 2017. Right to freedom of thought, conscience, and expression. Freedom of thought and conscience. This is akin to freedom of religion, which is contained in Article 25 to 28 of our Constitution. And Article 25 provides for the right to practice, profess, and propagate any religion of the choice. Right to hold opinion without interference. This is provided right to hold. It is related. It is right to freedom of speech and expression. Freedom of speech and expression, which is provided in Article 19 of our Constitution. It may have reasonable restrictions. For example, Actually, no right is absolute. The right can be restricted in certain cases, keeping in mind the public good. So, this right is also have certain restrictions as provided in Article 19(2) of our Constitution. Prohibition against propaganda for war. Right to peaceful assembly. This is also provided in our Constitution, peaceful assembly under Article 19. Right to freedom of association. This is also provided. This is also one of the freedom guaranteed under Article 19 of the Constitution. Right to family. Right to family as the natural and fundamental group of fundamental group unit of the society. So right to family is recognized, and we can see that in later conventions also, especially the Child Rights Convention, this right to family. Actually, family, it is considered that the person grows. I mean, all round growth of a person is possible in the family. That's why the family is considered to be the primary unit, the main unit. However, in cases where the family, for example, where there is abuse of child, or the family is not in a position to take care of the child, in those kinds of situations, the child can be separated from the family. So there are other rights also. Right to participate and vote in elections. This is also guaranteed in our Constitution. In a democratic country, everybody has a right to participate in election. But the conditions can be imposed. The rights can be limited. For example, there can be a age limit. Below that age limit, a person cannot participate in election, cannot vote, or contest election. Similarly, there may be situations where the person has committed a crime, so a person is in jail. So there can be restrictions, but in normal course, in general, in normal situations, this right is guaranteed in the covenant. All persons are equal before the law and are entitled without any discrimination the right to to the equal protection of the laws. So this is provided in our Constitution also. Now, with regard to the implementation of the convention, yes. Firstly, there is a committee on human rights, and as I told you earlier, the state has to submit their periodical reports in 4 years. The states who have ratified the treaties have to submit their reports to the committee, and the committee examines these reports and gives observations. Another is the individual complaint related mechanism, which I told you that India has not ratified it, that protocol. And third one is general comment. General comment are very important, and these are the authoritative interpretation of the provisions of the convention. When the committee examines the reports of various countries, it formulates general comments on various issues, education, health, election, etc. So these general comments are a kind of obligations, a kind of directions from the committee which the states have to follow. States have to incorporate them in their laws and practice. So with this, we end our today's discussion. Thank you very much.
आज अब हम आइसक्रीम बनाने के लिए क्या